I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music. We always get excited when we start a brand new series, new interview. This time around, Chris Thompson, famous for Blinded by the Light. He was with Manfred Mann for quite a few years, formed a band called Night, went on to co-write one of Australia and one of the biggest worldwide hits of all time, The Voice, You're the Voice. John Farnham, amazing. In this track, we start appropriately with, Blinded by the Light. There was a line from that Bruce Springsteen cover by Manfred Mann that people thought was a feminine product. Chris Thompson will explain on Rock History Music. Blinded by the Light, it's one of those songs that changes the trajectory, and I like it when people ask you about that, and you have to tell them, Springsteen wrote that song. And I've been caught in situations like that as an interviewer, but I've been in radio 40 years, and I'm a research pig. Tell me how that song, did that song change your life? I mean, really, you were.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I have to say, I love Bruce, but it was the band at Manfred working that song to get it to where it was that big hit. And, I
don't like Bruce's version, by the way. I've never liked Bruce's version.
Well, I hadn't even heard Bruce's version when we recorded ours. I just heard Manfred singing this horrible version because he's a horrible singer, but he's actually a good singer, but a horrible sound on his voice. So I hadn't heard it. I just interpreted what he did, and we put it down because the chords are all different. So it's not a monotone. And I think that's and it's got ear candy up the wazoo. So it changed my life, definitely. I mean, number one in America, number one in most places in the world, and it's still on heavy rotation in the States on those classic rock stations. It's marvelous.
So did he give you any direction, because you were fairly new and unknown at that time, that as far as singing, because Colin from the Zombies told me that Rod Argent, when they're recording, I don't know if you know those guys, but he says he guides me through all the vocals. I said, "What? You're Colin Blunstone? What the hell?" And he says, "No, I don't mind. I'm okay with that." He's told me that twice. But so anyway, a long question. Did you just interpret it the way you wanted it? How did that go?
Well, like I said, Manfred was just singing it at me every time we said. I mean, the thing with Manfred is he sits down and he just plays at the piano, excuse me, over and over again, whatever he's doing with. And in this case, it was Blinded by the Light. And he just kind of mumbled this shit. And I just had the lyric sheet and I just sang it the way I sang it. And, he didn't at all give me any direction. In fact, when I was doing the vocal, he went across the road to the fish and chip shop and had lunch. So, that's how much direction he gave me on that. But, he heard me sing it a lot of times and I heard him sing it a lot of times. So it was just, it gelled itself really.
Like before he goes into, what is it, chopsticks he does in the middle? Yeah, before he does, you're just wailing right into that. That's just, to me, that's just magic.
Yeah, it was a bit of a chance, I think. That was it's the engineer for you. He was listening to some outtakes and he heard that. And he said, "Manfred, why don't we put that in the song, after the solo?" And that's what we did. So engineers often, it's just that one sentence that somebody says that makes all the difference to everything. And, with Blinded, especially the beginning of Manfred had this idea about a heavy cello do at the front, and we mixed it like that. And the record company guy, Jerry Braun, came and he listened to it and he went, "Man, that's rubbish. I don't like the beginning. It's just blah, blah, blah." And he left and we were just sitting there going, shit. I could see my career just going out already before it even started. And then Laurie, the engineer, said, "I've got, there's another bit that you play, Manfred, which is the beginning of the song." He was playing it somewhere else when he was jamming around. So we put that on the front, and the rest is history as far as that's concerned as well.
There's a gentleman here, Peter Bradford. He asked me, I'll always go, hey, I'm interviewing this person. Do you have any questions? And sometimes I used to not do that because it makes it sound like I'm lazy. I'm not. I do a lot of work, but sometimes they come up with better questions than I would have. But he had asked you, Blinded by the Light, was it really banned by some stations because there was a line in there, the deuce line, that does... Was it really banned?
Absolutely. Manfred and I did a 52 or 54 station tour in America just to tell people it wasn't douche, it was deuce. Yeah, we did 52 or 54 stations in about a week, just trying to get, yeah. And the stupid thing is that it was all to do with the way the machines were lined up. There's a thing called azimuth, and you have to line it up before the session and you line it up when you mix. And for some reason or other, it wasn't lined up when I did the vocal. So when we came to mix, it had that kind of, the wrapped up like a douche. It just was funny. And it made people play it over and over again, but it also got us banned in a lot of places in America.
Well, Chris Thompson lives in Belgium. What happened? It's beautiful, I know, but
I met my wife, and I was living in America, and I met her, and it was a toss-up. She was either going to come and live in America, or I was going to go to live in Belgium. So we went and had a look, and it's a lovely place. Leuven, it's called. It's a really beautiful. It's a university city. Lots, it's a good place.
Good for you. Where were you living when you lived in the U.S.?
Newport Beach in California.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong. Well, I have to say the weather was just fantastic and everything, but it got very old, really, after being there for a few years. Felt, it's not very real, Newport Beach,
Whenever I hear... Go ahead, sorry.
I said, well, I met some nice friends, but most of it is, to do with money and looking good, I suppose. Yeah, which got very old to me after a while.
Well, a lot of times when I talk to musicians who used to live I'm Canadian. 90% of my audience is in the U.S. I love Americans. They love me. I have a Canadian channel for, I know you recorded the Ian Thomas song, The Runner. But the Canadian channel has so much people on our channel that Americans have never heard of. So if I put them on the big channel, this channel, I'll actually lose people watching. But anyway, long story.
But you got some great singers. The guy from Guess Who, I can't remember his name.
Burton Cummings.
Burton, yeah, I like Burton. We met each other a few times, but he was great.
He's a character and a very distinctive voice. We'll have more from Chris Thompson in the next few days, and if you're a member of our Patreon, you'll get access to the entire interview in the next few days. Make sure you comment on our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos on social media. We love it when you do that. We appreciate that. Join us every Friday for Friday Night Live. Sometimes we have guests. We always have a good topic. But if you want to support the channel, there are links in the description. You can join our Patreon as mentioned. You can make a donation, buy a t-shirt, spread the word. We'd appreciate that. I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music.